After scouring the vast pool that is YouTube, I've come back with a handful of videos that I find unnerving. Videos that you may not have seen before. Videos that will draw you in and creep you out. Today, I'll present these videos for you and you can see what exactly you think of them. As always, the videos, music, and my social media are all linked below, so check those out and I hope you enjoy this one. Around 14 years ago, Flash games were in their prime. Fancy Pants, The Impossible Game, Super Smash Flash, Super Mario Sunshine 64, and Duck Life are just a few popular games from that era that played a huge role in the childhoods of many. Really though, there were thousands if not millions of Flash games, and it was basically a Wild West where people could really upload whatever game they wanted to whatever website would take it. This allowed a lot of controversial and strange games to sneak their way into kid-friendly spaces. All of this would eventually cause the current digital horror era on YouTube. Series like Ches Kids, Bugbo, and Lacey's Games are great examples of the Flash game subgenre of this genre. More specifically, the Lacey's Games series has spawned a bunch of similar horror videos wherein someone plays an unnerving Flash game, usually concerning a main girl and some type of activity that she's doing. That leads me to Leah's Secret Boyfriend, a video created by Horfoy Arts that was released on December 27th, 2023. Meet Leah, a sweet girl. One day, the most popular guy confessed his feelings to her. Surprisingly, she feels the same way. Now, they're dating in secret, hiding their love from their curious classmates. Hope nothing goes wrong. Help Leah on this secret love adventure. Ready for the journey? Let's go! Hope nothing goes wrong. With that, we're brought to the title screen. Also, I like that her hair makes the shape of a heart, by the way. Nice touch. They select the first level and are brought to a screen which says, "Oh no! Leah's friends are coming over for a group project they need to finish. Help Leah find her things so her classmates won't get suspicious." After this, we're brought into a pretty simple look and fun game. The next screen says, "It's Valentine's Day. Leah wants to make something for her boyfriend. Be a lookout for her roommate while Leah's baking." Well done! Leah finished making cookies with no trouble thanks to you. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's a little bit worried, considering two things have happened and both of them have gone strangely well. Also, maybe it's just me, but if this guy was the most popular guy and now suddenly he's in a relationship, wouldn't he be, suddenly turning women down? Wouldn't people notice that he was acting different? Wouldn't people see them hanging out somewhere and start gossiping about them? It just seems kind of odd that she's trying this hard to hide that they're together. But who knows? Let's just see how this goes. It's the day Leah will give her cookies to her boyfriend. Help Leah find her boyfriend without letting their curious classmates know. Both of them agreed to meet up at a secret spot. Follow the map. Well, we're finally going to see this boyfriend of hers. I wonder where the secret spot will be. Maybe a beautiful opening in a forest away from everyone. A secret lake or some type of beautiful lookout area. this point, it flashes an image of Leah giving her boyfriend the gift on the screen multiple times before showing a red face with dark eyes in the window. The sky is then dark outside of the window as the image flashes more before it shows Leah secretly watching someone, with the image again rapidly fading in and out. Her expression is hard to read here. Suddenly, it zooms in on a creepy flashing image of her face while of course playing a loud sound. Awesome! Leah and her boyfriend can continue their secret relationship without trouble. Without trouble? Leah has to be hiding more than just her boyfriend here. But then again, this video isn't over yet. The next screen shows a list of goals, with all of level 1 to 3's goals being checked off. However, there's another level that's cut off. On top of that, what does "get rid of the imposter" mean? Was this even her boyfriend in the first place? Then again, now that I think about it, the person she was watching wasn't wearing the same outfit as her alleged boyfriend. Was that person his actual girlfriend? Maybe I'm just jumping too far ahead here. They slowly move their cursor onto the "here" hyperlink, and we see an image of Leah with realistic eyes suddenly flash in the background as "get rid of the imposter" repeats all over the paper. She alternates between looking away and looking directly at the player before we're brought back to the title screen. They go back to the level select screen, and as they select the unnamed level 4, another unnerving image of Leah flashes on screen. This level is from the perspective of Ray, which I assume is Leah's roommate. It's Valentine's Day. Ray wants to bake cookies with her roommate. Unfortunately, Ray's roommate has been missing. Help Ray find her roommate. So the imposter was his original girlfriend. As Ray backs up, Leah suddenly appears behind her, and that's where the game ends with the message, "Yeah, hey, you found Leah. They can bake cookies together now." For some reason, I don't think they'll be baking anything. Unlike Lacey, who usually has all of the bad stuff happening to her, Leah is the one victimizing others, which I find interesting. I really enjoyed this video, and as I always say, I love any flash game related horror. That being said, let's move on to the next video. We Deleted You is an interesting gaming creepypasta that was originally uploaded by YouTuber Icy Pie, now known as Nuclear Blue, on August 8th, 2017. It's written about a me called Eteled, or Delete, spelled backwards, who was created by a man named Henry that worked for Nintendo. Due to the man passing just a couple minutes after the me's creation, the me began to, well, haunt Henry's Wii. Another employee took the Wii from the room that Henry's body was found in and sent it off to be circulated with every other Wii. This led to a boy named Kyle receiving the exact same Wii on his birthday and discovering the strange me upon loading into the Me Plaza for the first time. Of course, he's weirded out and attempts to delete it, but something's wrong. No matter how many times it was deleted, said me would come back. Eteled would cause issues with the Wii, loud noises, flashing lights, etc. On top of this, he was able to hear and directly communicate with the player. Eventually, the story would reach a point where we would time skip 7 years, and Eteled finally shows the player where deleted me's go. Now, allow me to read you one of my favorite passages from this portion of the story. I promise you, this is actually in the story. You see, a me being deleted is basically the equivalent of being diagnosed of a terminal cancer or incurable sickness, so they are sent to the hallway where they are hooked to the life support machines to let out the remaining time they have left, and at the end they get taken off life support and they die. I mean, how can you not love the creepypasta era? Seriously. So anyway, there was a creepypasta remake of this story posted by Vibing Leaf on January 13th of this year. It starts off with a boy named Kyle exclaiming that he got a Wii for his 9th birthday. He says that he wants to start a video series of him using the Wii and shares some gameplay with us. This is Eteled, the me mentioned earlier. Kyle proceeds to delete him and then make his own me. However, after finishing his me's creation, something strange happens. Upon attempting to erase this strange me for the second time, the Wii suddenly begins to glitch out before displaying the text, "A me would like to speak, dev mode." The first screen displays text that is seemingly random, but when put in the correct order says, "Who do you think I am?" The next screen says, "You don't know me," and I couldn't figure out the rest of it. Then, this happens. If I was a kid experiencing this, at this point, I would probably think that this me was about to come out of the TV and take my life. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like some of us have experienced the dilemma of not wanting to delete a character or account out of an almost empathetic perspective, especially when it comes to games where you raise characters or own pets or something. I also find it interesting that it just completely disabled the Wii, but then again, since this is basically the supposed ghost of a Nintendo dev, I guess it makes sense. Kyle is sad that he didn't even get to play any Wii games before the Wii locked up, and calls Eteled mean. He then concludes that he showed his dad, who said he'd take it to the shop, and that even though it wasn't that great of a birthday, he was happy that he received a gift like that and were promised an update. 10 days later, Kyle comes back saying he's going to try to use it again with the help of his friend Nathan, since nobody else at school would believe him. The home screen of the Wii looks very corrupted. On some portions, it even looks like the screen itself was damaged. It then becomes even more corrupted before Kyle's me appears on screen with his head turned inhumanly to the side as the music further distorts and the screen goes black. Kyle comes back and says that Nathan left as he thinks that he was the one doing all of this. Kyle takes his anger out on the Wii, deciding to leave it in his closet for years as it made him lose a friend. Eteled isn't going anywhere. After some glitching, we briefly see an image of Eteled before he tells Kyle that he's not in control here. 3 years pass, and Kyle finds his Wii again as the family is moving. He decides to fire it up one last time.
Three years taught me everything till you come back. I wanted to apologize. I still want to. I hope you know. I don't really know who I am.
This is where the retake differentiates the most from the original. In the original, Ethelred shows the player where Mies go when they die, as I said before. It's really interesting how existential this Mies perspective on its life is, yet despite that, he's able to show growth and change, even apologizing to Kyle. Kyle says he forgives Ethelred and he wants to talk to it again, although unfortunately the console is ruined because of whatever Ethelred just did to it. He's hoping to get it repaired. I honestly think this remake is much more unnerving than the original story. It could be because of the fact that we're actually able to see the gameplay itself. If it had come out years earlier, people probably would have debated if the story was true or not. Adult life can be, and usually is, very difficult. With so many more responsibilities, it can get to the point where you don't even have time to do any of the things that you enjoy, like you're unable to have fun. Adult Life with Gary Workman is a video by Exploshi or Sploshi released August 17th, 2023.
Hey kids, having fun? That's nice. For many of us grown-ups, fun is but a distant memory. I think the last time I had fun was last week. I saw a dog poo in the shape of a smiling face. The delight was so overwhelming I had to have a little lie down.
As we can see, Gary takes boring adult life to an extreme, being unable to handle what most of us would probably see as amusing at best. It's also interesting to know how blank his expression is outside of that. It's like he's become devoid of emotion, but maybe I'm just looking too much into it. I'm also kind of confused as to what kids are supposed to be learning from this, but maybe it's to appreciate being a child more?
This is my bedroom. There are no toys. This is my living room. There is no TV. All I need to get by is a good book.
Gary's bedroom seems to be made to stimulate his mind as little as possible. As we saw earlier, he had to lie down just from being amused a little bit. Maybe if he gets too excited, something bad will happen. Not to mention, he's not even reading an encyclopedia or a textbook, but a dictionary. He's reading a dictionary for fun. Probably the most formatted and orderly book that you could possibly have. No surprises and no variety.
This is my kitchen. There are no crayon drawings on the fridge, no sugary cereals, just bran. To be honest, I did try putting a grain of sugar on my bran once. Just once. It was a bit much, so I threw it in the bin and made another bowl.
This man's life is so devoid of any sense of enjoyment that it's honestly unnerving. One granule of sugar shouldn't even be noticeable at all, yet he's so entrenched in his routine that he couldn't handle that type of flavor change. Or maybe, as I said earlier, he's just so unstable that any stimulation could lead to something drastic.
This is my car. Just kidding. To keep myself in tip-top shape, I cycle to work. Just kidding. My bike was seized by ruffians last month. Good for them.
It's interesting to see how he's the most expressive when he's talking about how he doesn't have a car or bike. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that he's definitely suppressing his emotions at this point, but one can only suppress them so much.
Walking is just as fun. We in the walking fandom have a saying. Every blister is a blessing. This is my work. I work in the water factory, in the quality control department. If one of us dies, today's batch of water has gone bad, and it's all thrown away.
Before we comment on the obvious, again, I think it's noticeable how this factory is as dull looking as possible. Just gray everywhere with specks of blue. Water is also one of the most bland things on earth pretty much, and having a job where you just stare at water bottles all day is about as non-stimulating as it gets. Now then, I should probably comment on the elephant in the room. I wonder how or why these people are dying anyway.
There goes Dave Hendricksford Wilkinson now. It's been going bad awfully quickly nowadays.
The text on the TV screen said, David Hendrickford Wilkinson has kicked the bucket. Employees are advised to decontaminate their innards before proceeding to lunch break or using the restroom. I don't think I want to know what decontaminating innards entails. Speaking of which, I'm confused as to how he even died anyway. Was it because of toxins in the air? Did he just drink the water? Maybe I shouldn't have asked.
I hope this doesn't negatively impact the economy. My brand is already expensive enough as it is. Sorry, I don't mean to prattle. We grown-ups don't normally have anyone to talk to. This is my lunch. I packed plenty of air to keep me going. It's nice to bring air from home. It reminds me of home. The air in this factory does funny things to your mind. Like that. You're not real.
First off, why didn't he just pack bran, since that seems to be the only thing that he eats? But secondly, I guess I finally understand why he's trying to suppress his emotions so much, because he probably has some type of brain damage.
This is my commute home. You may remember from earlier that my bike is currently unavailable. It seems I've forgotten where I live.
Most of us will likely end up getting old, but this seems like some type of cognitive disease as opposed to age. He's unable to handle any mental stimulation, when usually old people are the ones doing all kinds of fun stuff since a lot of them are retired. When you get old, please do not work in a water factory. Some of you may remember staying up late as a kid to watch Adult Swim. It used to be almost a personal challenge of sorts. We had to know what exactly the adults or even the other kids at school that could get away with more were watching. Some of you may also have seen a pretty disturbing bumper called "The Dawn is Your Enemy." For those of you that don't know, it's a pretty infamous Adult Swim bumper used to scare kids from watching. It features a creepy sun along with the eyes of someone who seems to be in anguish. The music in the background was also a part of that original bumper. You can imagine that a lot of kids would be pretty disturbed from seeing something like this at night. There are also subsequent creepypasta that originate from said bumper, detailing even more things, like the sun in the background winking, for example. But what if there actually was more to that bumper than that singular image, and what if we could actually watch it ourselves? Reimagined Dawn is a video that was released by Vibing Leaf September 19th of 2023. It starts off with a more pleasant image of the moon that says, "The night is your comfort." I really enjoy how it looks like someone is recording their TV because they either pre-recorded this bumper or they've seen it before and had to make sure they got proof of this insane bumper. The music which is playing in the background is also really peaceful. All of a sudden the video cuts to black and then we see the original image animated. The background music also seems noticeably more distorted, which of course makes it that much more unsettling. It cuts again to something even more unnerving. If you didn't notice, the text on screen says, "The dawn is your defamer." We also get to see the bottom half of the infamous sun in this image. Maybe I'm reaching here, but I like to think that the camera work gets a lot worse here to show us that the person recording is becoming much more afraid, maybe even purposefully looking away from the screen as they record. As unsettling as that was, things will get even worse. The dawn is your doom. I really like the ominous moving sky here and how Vibing Leaf managed to make the background audio even creepier than it previously was. It also seems like the sun is even closer, but who knows. At the end we see the sun wink, and that's it. Very unnerving stuff, but I really love this video. Okay, we're back to Exploshi or Sploshi again for this one, with Monty Bear's wonderful Give-o-ween. Out of curiosity, I did look around on Google to see if Monty Bear was a real thing, and although no Monty Bear that looked like this appeared, I did find an old website that featured a teddy bear with the same name, and there seems to be a Monty Bear that helps kids with their literacy skills, so there you go. With that, let's see what this video is all about.
Do you know what time it almost is? It's give-o-ween! This year, I will give the best present of all, and you will help me do it. Who do you think will like each present? Match.
I did like how Monty pointed directly at the viewer at one point, and the audio distortions are just enough to keep you unnerved and on edge. I also noticed that Monty has an anarchy symbol on his stomach. I wonder what that could mean. We're also introduced to 3 other characters here: Bear Bear, Plumpy Bear, and Toby Bear. But back to these gifts. 2 of these gifts are ominous, to say the least. Some unknown pills and a syringe filled with mysterious fluid. At least there's a cool skateboard though. I'm sure it'll all go well though. When does anything bad ever happen in a Sploshi video? I did check frame by frame when they got the answer wrong, and there weren't any creepy changes or anything like that. This is the first time of many, by the way, that Monty Bear will attempt to access the user's information. Not sure why yet, but I can't imagine it's for any good reason. Just an interesting note. As you can see, for a brief second, an image of Monty Bear with an unnerving smile appears when the player gets it wrong this time. I guess it's finally time to see how everyone likes their gifts.
Okay, everyone, I think I've really knocked it out of the park with my gifts this year.
This room is very interesting. We got some alien symbols on a poster, some cool patterns on the wall and floor, a lava lamp that is broken open which is insanely dangerous, and is that a bear head on the wall? Interesting. Of course, the door also looks like Monty, which is pretty cool. Bear seems to have a bear on its stomach, which makes sense, and Plumpy Bear, I honestly can't tell. I guess you guys can figure that out.
Knocked it out of the skate park, you mean? Ha 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 ha. Where's my present?
Right here.
First off, I don't think I'd want a present from someone that makes that face when they tell me that they're gonna give it to me. Second off, that makes 2 times that Monty has tried to access the user's info so far. I'm not sure what the game would need to make changes to your address book for anyway. Maybe it's like a real life game. They send you an address and then you physically go there for your own give-o-ween adventure.
Diet pills? Are you calling me fat?
Yes. I always knew you were a bit
One-dimensional?
I don't think those were diet pills. That was honestly pretty comedic though, how Monty just immediately responded yes and then shoved those pills in his mouth. I do also find it interesting how quickly they were able to work. He just completely defied the laws of physics and turned into nothingness.
This is one I'm sure you'll enjoy.
This is...
The cure to your father's condition.
He died a week ago.
Nobody gets their give-o-ween present early. Don't be selfish.
Toby Bear's symbol seems really familiar as well, but I'm not sure where it's from. It's also really nefarious how he makes sure to tell him he's sure he'll enjoy it, like he didn't more than likely know that his father had already passed away. When Monty calls Toby selfish, it's also notable that he has 2 mouths, so I don't know, that's just pretty cool.
It's been a busy day, and it's time for my bed. Before I snooze off to sleep, what is the lesson we learned today?
Monty just has this light hanging like 5 inches over his head. He also makes the creepiest face when he stops the player from being able to leave. But why does Monty keep trying to access this person's computer? Is this game trying to send some type of message or find them in real life? After this, his face consumes the screen and the video ends. Remember how I mentioned Flash games and the large amount of videos inspired by the Lacey's game series earlier? Well, I have another video in that category that I really enjoyed called A Creepy Secret Found in a Now Lost Flash Game, Yumi's House. In the beginning, the player tells us that they're going to show us a creepy secret found in Yumi's house, but first they'll show us the normal gameplay. Of course, this intro style is super similar to videos from the late 2000s and early 2010s. After starting the game, we see the message, Yumi haven't cleaned her house for a long time, and today, she decided that it's finally cleaned it up. Will you help her out? The player finds the grammatical error pretty strange, but presses on. On the next screen, the player is able to select what room they want to clean. The player clarifies that you're able to play 5 different in-game days, but that they'll only be showcasing one. As they go through the different rooms, they happen upon one that's completely blanked out with no name. They comment that they're unable to pick this room yet. Safe to assume this could be the secret that they'll be showing us later. They choose to clean the living room first. After loading in, we get to see some of the gameplay. Notice anything strange? Personally, I couldn't tell what they meant by this after checking back a couple of times, but maybe I missed something. Either way, they'll be explaining this later. After this, the normal gameplay is over, and we get to see something from day 2. The mysterious room preview has been changed from light pink to black. On day 3, the option to access the mysterious room is completely gone, and now it's time for the secret. On the completion screen of the game, it seems normal at first, but in the top right corner there's a bit of a shadow. They proceed to click on it. This crashes the game. However, the player says that now the secret is activated. They load back into the game, and instead of the usual intro screen, they get a black screen with the text Night 1 appearing on screen. You have 1 minute and 3 flashes of light. Use them wisely. The player is confused when they start the game. At first, they wasted all 3 flashes pretty quickly. When looking at the room, we can see a television, a mirror, a dresser, and a mini fridge. This is either some type of old hotel room based on the TV or someone's bedroom. After sitting in the dark for a while, some kind of loud whirring noise plays before the game crashes again, and when reloading it, it goes back to normal. Now, when going back into the game, you're able to access the secret room. The game ominously asks if you're really sure you want to clean this room. It then even more unnervingly asks if you're absolutely sure, and after selecting yes, despite it being scribbled out, a frame briefly flashes that says Sister's Room, with a blurred image in place of the black square. After loading into the game, we see a pretty creepy door before a text box loads up. Why here? Can't we just leave it the way it is? She'll watch me. Please, leave it alone. Behind the yes button, it also says please faintly, whereas the no button is tiny and completely scribbled out. Did you notice the muffled crying? I wonder if that came from Yumi or from the inside of this room. After it closed out, I'm sure you also noticed a brief flash of text. It translates to, "I'm sorry, older sister." At least I'm pretty sure, as the word seems to mean both older brother and older sister in Indonesian. However, we saw a text earlier stating sister's room. We seem to be back in that same room as we can hear crying in the background. The player picks up a newspaper with the headline reading, "Teenager dies in road accident" in Indonesian. Right after this, we see text that says, "I was jealous that she always got their attention. She got everything and I got nothing." Next, it shows different school grades with what I'm assuming are her sisters in the front and hers in the back? I'm not sure though. Selecting the teddy bear triggers the text, "Precious gift given from them. I threw him in the middle of the road. I didn't expect her to come running to get him. She's gone because of me." She continues to cry in the background. Selecting the broken mirror says, "She looked at me through the mirror, her eyes full of hatred and anger. I can't look at her anymore. She wants me gone." She then selects something that is just labeled, "Goodbye." It reads, "Mom, Dad, by the time you found this, I would already be gone. She took me with her." We see a brief ghostly face up close before the screen goes black. The title screen flashes and then we go on to night 2. The TV screen says, "Hell." The player is more careful with the flashlight, choosing to wait instead of wasting the 3 flashes very quickly like before. On the second use, the TV says, "Hello, sister," and we see an image of a ghostly girl in the mirror. That seems to be it. I thought this video was absolutely phenomenal, so I definitely recommend that you check it out for yourself.